Are we summoning demons through artificial intelligence, through aliens? Are we preparing the way for the Antichrist? I am on with Alan DiDio. He has a prophetic word. I believe there is a word that we are standing at a new Manhattan Project moment. Get ready, get prepared. No longer are these backroom conversations. These are not sideline items. Aliens, artificial intelligence, and how they prepare the way for the Antichrist. It is relevant to you. It's coming right into your home. But the good news is you can be ready.
Dubai is underwater, and it's all happening because they allegedly decided to make it rain, but now it just won't stop. They do this thing called cloud seeding, which is basically manipulating clouds to enhance rainfall in dry climates. But as a result, the entire city has become underwater with massive storms flooding malls and residential buildings. Literally, airplanes can't take off anymore, and some are even comparing the rainstorms to the apocalypse.
Welcome to Prophetic News Tonight. I'm your host, Taylor. We bring you 2 updates in the realm of the prophetic. First, we'll see a recap of Alan DiDio's recent interview with Larry Sparks, where they talk about one of the hottest topics right now, artificial intelligence. Then, we'll see a recap of Joseph Z's prophetic weather update. Let's roll Alan and Larry's interview now.
Larry Sparks here, and this is thrilling for me to be with Alan DiDio, dear friend, author, a media personality, but he has written a new book, Summoning the Demon. And Alan, right before we came on to do this, what we were talking about is how when we've had these technological advances in the earth, why is it that it seems like the church or the Christian community is so resistant to it? And I want to let you respond, but my thought is this, even thinking like TV or the World Wide Web or the internet, I just have these pictures of like when TV was coming out, don't watch TV, it's the devil.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what's a balanced perspective on that? Because obviously we see the enemy leveraging things, leveraging these things. Well, what can we do as a church? How do we navigate this?
I'm so glad you're here. By the way, welcome to Encounter Today Studios.
I love it.
You're
The
enjoying.
tables are turned. There's wild.
It's so great to have you guys here, and we love everything you do. Nori Media, Destiny Image.
Thanks.
You guys are absolutely amazing. And I wasn't the guy who I thought would write this book because I'm not the alien guy. I'm not the AI guy. But I saw the world gravitating toward it and everyone starting to talk about it and how dramatically it's going to impact society. So that's the reason why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. Christians are late adopters. And as a result, I think of the story of Kublai Khan, who ruled a large swath of territory. And he told Marco Polo, you nearly convinced me to be a Christian. If you were to send 100 missionaries, I bet my entire kingdom would be converted. Those missionaries were never sent. And now that is the exact place of the 1040 window right now. And so when I think of television, for example, when it first came out, Christians ran from it, said, look at those, the antenna were horns and the cord was the tail, it's a devil. And it took visionaries to say, no, we need to use this for the glory of God. When we're talking about technology, when we're talking about artificial intelligence, it's just a tool. That's all it is, like a gun, a weapon, a sword, a pen. All it is a tool. The question is, are we going to forfeit the rights to use that tool? Are we going to allow the enemy to have complete control over it? Or are we going to participate as well and use it to advance the kingdom?
Well, and you have a principle in the book that you did, Armed for Victory, where you talk about using Goliath's swords against him.
Yeah.
But how does that relate to what we're talking about?
Sometimes we suffer from the Sunday school version of a Bible story. We think of Goliath and we think of the sling and the stone. But that wasn't all that killed Goliath. The Bible said that David climbed atop Goliath's defeated carcass, unsheathed his own sword, and separated his head from his shoulders. David used enemy technology, enemy weaponry against the enemy. This is a principle we see throughout the Word of God. Haman built gallows in order to destroy the people of God. What does God do? Before he can have the ribbon cutting ceremony, he's hanging by the very gallows that he created. God will take whatever weapon the enemy has fashioned and turn it around, but he needs people who are willing to redeem it. So that's what we always say. We need to use Goliath's sword. We need to use artificial intelligence.
Joseph Z recently reported on the catastrophic rain that hit Dubai. Let's take a look.
The skies were so dark, it was like a repeat of the major solar event from last week.
Australia are creating man-made clouds to cool the ocean. Take a look.
There's 2 whole shipping containers with big air compressors in them to generate the compressed air to blast the plume. And so what we see is that the plume actually gets sucked right up into the clouds. Oh, wow. We don't have to do anything. Right? Yeah, it's terrific. It makes life a lot easier. And in fact, it means we're able to revise a lot of our sort of calculations as to how many stations we need and how efficient it would be. Per second, one of those machines, we've got two now, but for one, it produces about 1,000 billion droplets a second from about a shot glass of water a second, 30 mils.
One of the things I saw that would be a sign, a wonder, and even a difficulty is that if he goes in, I saw like weather manipulation happening. And you say, what are you talking about? Can they manipulate the weather? Now, many of you are already commenting, yes, HAARP, things, they seed clouds. Well, here's the other thing. They actually have shown this stuff to the public without saying that's what they're doing. You know that, right? Like they've shown this stuff on TV programs. They've shown this stuff on different platforms and even shows in the past where they say, oh my goodness, look, here's a cloud, it's going in the sky, and then suddenly it rains and all. You recognize they can do this. And if they can show it passively about something that's not fully related to this, I'm telling you, they got the tech to do some pretty crazy stuff. As a matter of fact, let's show that clip from a TV show called Top Gear. Elijah, we have that, right? The clip from Top Gear where they're talking about NASA and the way they put clouds out in jet propulsion, but it turns into a cloud, manifests into a cloud in the sky that another state he jokes about will be able to see or experience rain out of, and then something crazy happens in this clip. Let's take a look at this. Weather manipulation. Here we go. Okay, this is...
Don't worry
Stop
if you
right
can't hear what I'm saying.
Okay, I want to talk about this for a second. So what's happening is this is a NASA rocket program and all this, and I don't have all the deep insights to it, but here's the point. They're blasting out this jet propulsion, and it's like, what is it? It's like H2O they're blasting in the air, some kind of, combination of elements. They're blasting it into the air, and you're seeing it's like hydrogen, oxygen, all that. They're just blasting it into the air, and here's what's happening. It's vaporizing, but notice he got these earphones on. It's so loud. He said it's the loudest thing he's ever heard, basically. But it's creating something. Now, if you'll pay attention, you're going to begin to see what it creates. Now, it's louder than he can even explain. This is from Top Gear. But notice where this goes. Just pay attention to it.
I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And
look at that.
It turns out,
look at that.
The cleanest.
Does that look familiar?
Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the air.
That cloud, he's calling it, that's a cloud in the sky. Does that look like anything other than a cloud? Does it look man-made? The answer is no, it doesn't. It looks like any cloud you would see. Now, if he can do this on a program and they show you this on television, and this is probably 20 years old, if they show it to you here, what else can they do? Now watch what happens next. Now imagine what they could do unfettered. Imagine what they do with all their technology. Imagine what they could do if they really wanted to create something. If they can do that, they can do things that are probably beyond our comprehension, involving weather, maybe even hurricanes. Maybe they can stir stuff up. And they've talked about this stuff since the Vietnam War. This stuff is out there. Now I have an inkling, an unction. And my sense is this, that there will come a time that should the former leader get in, that we will see this type of narrative all over, especially in this nation. Now, I believe it involves seashore, the shorelines. I believe it involves intense weather. I believe it involves cells and supercells and things that are breaking loose at an unprecedented level. And this is their mechanism for blaming change. That wicked tree-hugging religion where they worship creation like Romans forbids. They worship creation rather than the creator. The point is when we're looking at this mess that's happening, there is an agenda behind it, and the mechanism is now you're seeing them spraying things out into the atmosphere or in space, so to speak, so they can block sunlight. Now they're going to begin to manipulate weather. They want to begin to do all this stuff so they can induce the very stuff they're lying to us about. Okay? That's going to be a big one there. What do I mean by this? Well, I believe it's going to be in the form of fires. Okay? Fires that'll come. I believe it's going to be in the form of, tornadoes or big storms. I believe it's going to be in the form of, hurricanes and crazy winds that'll happen. It's going to be in the form of oceanic tsunami type activity, earthquakes underground. You're going to start to see earthquakes underground.
Hey, Joseph.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the purpose, do you think, that they would use weather in this scenario?
I think it's a distraction narrative, because no different than the way that they did the Mark of the Beast precursor practice serum, the whole agenda with that.
Mm-hmm.
If they can offset or get him or the nation off balance, they will keep control in many different sectors. Now, I remember when I think it was DeSantis, he stood up and he said, hey, we're not going to have this, that, or the other thing. And the record year for hurricanes that have ever hit that state blasted through there, and that's almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. And I'm talking it decimated the coastline. And God forbid a Cyber Monday like this, but I'm telling you, there's going to be something more involving this. This is going to be a major thing. And this is that deal where I saw or said the words that a person would be involved with this. They'd almost be a part of it, behind the veil, causing some of it, and then come as the savior. Now, yesterday I wrote that it would be maybe an Elon or some tech company. But here's the one thing I didn't write that I saw, and I didn't get to it. And that's this. Get ready for this. The government. What's that one song? Who can take your money? The government. The government can, right?
Thank you for watching this edition of Prophetic News. We encourage you to subscribe, like, and comment. We will see you next time.